Hello and welcome back. This is David from the Personal Finance Squad. We are into exercise 3 in creating the budget, purchasing a vehicle. We have some given variables for you to work with in that you will have $2,500 to use for a down payment. And if you're going to spend at least $5,000, that means it's going to be for a used or new car. So again, $5,000, it has to be the value of that car or higher. Now, if you have chosen to lease the car, ultimately, you do not have to spend $5,000 down. So those are the options that you have. So what we're saying here is that you have to use all $2,500 in your down payment, and the finance term needs to be 3 years or more. So if you bought a car for $10,000 and you put down $2,500, you are going to finance $7.5K. When you're looking for this car, you got to check for things like tax, title, and destination. These are fees that go on. Taxes, there's going to be a tax if your state has tax. If you don't, then that's a bonus. There's title to the car and destination fees. So that's fees of delivering the car to the dealer. So look for those things. You often see those more into leases, but they can certainly be into new cars as well. And what you want to do from there is to go to some online sellers to find out the kind of cars, what they're selling for, the kind of cars that you would like. Dealerships certainly have their own online sites. The manufacturers themselves, like a Ford dealer would have a Ford website, and they might have specials going on that hit all the dealers. And there's sites like TrueCar and AutoTrader, of course, that will give you price comparisons. They'll start showing you how much a car is selling for based on what it's sold in the geographical area. So it gives you an understanding, again, what you might be getting into for price. Now, you may want to also call to a live person to find out some more information. And there's nothing wrong with doing this. People shop for cars all the time. You certainly, if you were going to go buy the car, you'd actually have to go in and actually purchase the car or get the lease. In this case, you're not going to do that. Again, you can go as far as you want with these exercises, but you know you're not going to pull the string, meaning you're really going to execute the purchasing. Other things to consider are gas mileage. We will get into that as well. So cars have a lot of tails to them. They have maintenance, they have gas mileage, they have insurance, they have the ownership of the car itself, and there could be registration tabs, things like that at the DMV. Cars can be quite expensive, so what you purchase can have a bearing on how the other pieces of that car cost when you have to put insurance and vehicle maintenance on it. So again, these are things you're going to learn as we go through here, and again, you can see like here the other piece we talk about, we want 3 searches minimal. So you want to narrow it down to 3 cars that you want. In terms of price, you might have to go a little deeper and say I might have to talk to 3 different dealerships for that particular car. But maybe if you go to a Mazda dealership, they don't necessarily have a Mini Cooper, right? Because if you're looking for a new car, they're not going to sell them. They might have used cars there, and so that's different. Now, if you buy a used car and you saw something online you just wanted to purchase from someone selling by owner, then you can also consider that part of just knowing that there's just a straight price. You may have to pay tax by your state, but those are things you need to figure out, but they're pretty simple. Again, and your instructor can help you with some of these pieces of information while you're doing this. But here's your given variables. Purchasing a new car will come with a standard warranty, so you don't have to worry about that. But if buying a used car may not have a warranty, so more than likely you're not going to find one. If you buy a used car from again, a for sale by owner person, there's a good chance it won't have a warranty on it, depending on the age. But if it's a newer car, they may still have the warranty that can pass over to you. And you don't have to worry about this so much. These are things just to think about. What you really want to consider here is just get down the price of the vehicle itself. So once you narrow down some cars that you want, you need to find out what it's going to cost you. So you can go to this website here. It's bankrate.com auto, and you can input the information such as zip code and length of finance term, and they'll give you some interest rates you can work with. Just take the rate that you see there that looks like the lowest and work with that. And then Bankrate itself will also have a calculator that you can click in here, which is amortization. And then you will put in the term that you're going to have the car for, the amount you're going to finance, and the interest rate, and it will come up with what your monthly payment will be. Now we have an automobile comparison grid that you can use. They can put a lot of these answers into the questions that we've been putting here in front of you because this is a lot of information to take in. You can see here that we've listed it by description here. So in the auto grid comparison that you get on the website, you'll be able to have this expanded a little bit easier to work with. This is just a static file here that's put in front of you. But you can see that In this case, this is a used comparison to a lease. You can see certainly the interest rate, but now a lease won't have an interest rate. So that's the difference there. You just know what your payment's going to be. You have no interest. Down payment we know is $2,500. Now, on this Focus example for $1,500 down, that means you'll have $2,500 to start with, and you will have $1,500 less that. So you're going to have $1,000 left over. Now you could choose to put that money back in your savings or put the whole $2,500 down, and that will make your lease payment less. So if you're considering talking to somebody on the phone, you can say, listen, what if I put $2,500 down and it's less than what they require? What's my lease payment going to be? They can calculate that for you. And then here's a big one, of course, is miles per gallon. Now you see City Highway here. Now Focus definitely does better than the Mini Cooper in this case, so if that's important to you, then that certainly can make a difference, certainly on your gas price, filling up your tank. Talked about taxes. So if you have taxes in your state, you're going to pay taxes on the vehicle purchase price that we put right here. So if your car is $10,000 and you have a tax rate of 6%, you're going to have to apply that on top. So that means they can bake that price in there. They can say the car is $10,000 and then your tax is $600. So at this point, your car at this moment would be $10,600, and you can finance that amount. So that, again, you need to figure out all these little fees right here, like title and destination, things like that, that could cost you more money on top of the total price of the vehicle just as a standard price. So remember, you need pretty much, we'll just call it like the base vehicle. This is what you're purchasing at $10K, and then you need to add any tax and other fees. And that's your total price. Now you can see, like, here's a warranty here. Now in this case, let's say this was a used car in 2003, and this is what we talked about. There might be carryover left over for a warranty. A lot of times if you buy a car from a dealer, like a used one, they'll give you a number of months and some miles on it. So what we mean here is you get 1 year or 10,000 miles. So after 1 year, you can't use this for any warranty claims, or if it's under a year and you eclipse 10,000 miles, then you'll have no more warranty coverage. Miles. Now you can see a difference here is that a Mini Cooper in this case has 120,000, so that means there's a lot of wear and tear on it, and the Focus is considered a new car at this point, won't have anything. So a lot of people lease for the reason that they like a fresh new car and they know that's going to probably be more reliable because it doesn't have that wear and tear. And that's why it's attractive. Cost. Now, there's no cost per se on the Focus because you're not putting a down payment into a loan, but what you are doing is putting a down payment right here. Okay? So what we're getting at here is this $5,500 is going to be financed. The lease doesn't have any financing. It's like they're going to tell you you need X amount down. So in this case, if it was $1,500, you pay the $1,500, and then if it's, say, for 3 years, you're going to get a payment amount, and then you're just going to pay that for the 3 years, and you're done. In this case, you have $5,500. You're going to pay the $5,500 plus interest. So when you're looking at the assessment of what car do I want, over time, you're going to say, really, I paid $5,500 plus this amount, or over here you're going to say I paid $1,500 down plus my lease payment. So you really have to think about, in total cost of a car, is down payment plus taxes, all these fees down here, plus interest, or down payment plus monthly cost. So again, you can see right here, let me clean this up a little bit. And there's a comparison here for price. And we can see that the Mini Cooper is at $166. And we can see that the Focus is at $225. So that's what it comes down to. What is cheaper for you? What's best for you? Now, Focus may be $225 a month, but the gas mileage is a lot better. And especially if you're a highway driver, you're getting more out of it. So that's what you need to think about. And again, you could say I paid $225 plus down payment, but you have to add up the difference between down payment and what you financed here. And if you put all that together and do a gas mileage a comparison gauge over what you predict you drive over the years, you can really come up with just a cheaper way to go. Another thing you want to consider here is mile charges. So what we're saying here is you got to pay 20 cents per mile over 30,000 miles. So if you drive a car at an extra 1,000 miles and you have 20 cents a mile, you're going to have to pay another $200 when you turn that car in. So they like to think they don't want a lot of wear and tear in the car because it loses value. It's called residual value. It's what the car is worth after you turn it back in over a period of time. And so they got to protect their interests. So a lot of times you'll see a 36-month lease, 10,000 miles a year. So that's really $825 a month as an average, right? What it means to them is once you cross 30, you've crossed 30. You need to look at it as how many miles am I driving a month? And again, you would get that from a mileage estimation calculator, which we'll get into in a little bit about estimating gas, and that's by determining, again, how many miles you might think you drive in a given week or a month. The last thing here is we have oil changes are included in the lease. So, and there's a maintenance factor that we've talked about, we'll talk about further. Cars have more than just the purchase price, they have maintenance. So that's a nice little bonus. You might get an oil change every 1 or 2, or maybe once or twice a year, depending on what the cars are. That should cover this section here. So got a couple quick things here. We say, hey, what car did you choose? When you get down to all this and you get into class and you share this information with your classmates and your instructors, what did you choose? And certainly, why is your decision made? And you're going to find out there's going to be a lot of different reasons by other people for what they did, and it might make you think about how you came up with your assessment. And do you want to keep the same answer or choice that you've come up with the car? So we just talked about this piece here already. Again, if you pay more than what the lease down payment is, you can either choose to put that in your bank account, or you can choose to put that more into the car and pay it off earlier. That's going to cover it for here at this point. So there's a lot to work with here. It's going to take you some time to do this exercise. Certainly use the grid, make your phone calls, or at least get on the net, get the interest rate, get the amortization calculator, and fill out this grid here so you can start looking at some comparisons. What might be better for you? Okay, so we appreciate you being here, and we will see you guys in exercise 4, where we get into vehicle maintenance, which is an additional cost to maintain your car. So thanks for joining, and we will see you then.